appearing in court in relation to this Mediclinic 24 tender, in relation essentially to Vusimuzi Kat Matlala.
So the contract linked to Kat Matlala and Medicare 24 was worth hundreds of millions.
Today that they are being arrested, it's actually a victory for men.
The way the law works is they go after the small fry first.
We'll see arrests, we'll see people sometimes appearing in court, and then nothing seems to happen after that.
Hey, and welcome to the Political Show right here on Active FM, where radio has never been better. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you know you can call me Gix, and with me in studio we have
Gavin Enslin.
Pastor Gavin Enslin and
The Black Knight.
The Black Knight, right here on the Political Show, where Christ politics is
Hot politics.
hot politics. And this week's hot politics,
We've got Black Knight in the show.
Yes.
After about 6 years.
Yeah. But I'm guessing the subscribers are used to it now. You know,
No,
must be
please
a
do not get
special
used to
service.
that.
Special
Have you noticed
episode every time.
our
Black
viewership
Knight is
seems to
on.
tank when he's not on the show.
Eish.
Okay, I feel touched. Sorry, guys, I shall not miss the show.
Yeah, so this week we are speaking about continuing with the Matlanga Commission and stuff. And more specifically, we are focusing on Kat Matlala's company and the whole thing with Medicare 24. And they basically awarded 360 million to provide healthcare services to SAPS. The tender care was with Medicare 24 in the Tshwane district. The tender was later cancelled due to corruption and criminal charges against Matlala. However, 50 million rand was already paid before cancellation. Pascal, do you want to give a more brief explanation?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, was it the Minister of Police?
Yes.
Senzo Mkhunu ordered that they cancel the contract, and it took the Commissioner of Police, Fani Masemola, 3 months, I think it was 3 months, gigs, to cancel the contract. And at that time, they paid an additional 50 million over to them.
Yep.
So, that obviously left some serious question marks. And in fact, in last week's show, we were actually querying about Fani Masemola. And then late last week, after we'd recorded the show, lo and behold, gets announced that Fani Masemola, has been summoned to appear in court.
Yeah.
So whether that means he's going to be charged, I was listening to a show by SMWX, and he was saying that he feels it's going to be very difficult for him to get a conviction based on the law. I'm looking at that, I'm saying, if you or I were guilty of wasting 50 million rand of taxpayers' money, I think they'd get a conviction very quickly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what we're going to go through. And, of course, 12 of them appeared in court last week, Wednesday. So we're going to chew the fat on this one a little bit, aren't we, Black Knight?
Most deaf.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting one, as always, right here on the Political Show, where Christ politics is
Hot politics.
hot politics.
Waiting.
So we are looking at the 12 SAP officers who were arrested, along with the whole Masemola having to appear in court. Now, who are these 12 senior SAPS officers that were arrested? But unfortunately, we don't have all 12 names because all 12 names haven't been made public. However, 5 of the names have been made public. And it's Brigadier Brian Cartwright, Brigadier Rachel, then Brigadier Alpheus Gema, Brigadier Patrick Tengwe, and then Colonel Tumisho Maleka. So these are the 5 names that have been released publicly. But all officers, and they're senior officers, these are not people in lower ranks and stuff like that, but they are faced with fraud, corruption, money laundering, and PFMA charges. Masemola, who is the national commissioner, is not among the 12 who have been arrested, but then he has been summoned to court. So what are your thoughts on the 12 senior officers that have been arrested?
What do you mean senior? Some of them are captains,
Yeah.
sergeants. I think there's one general.
Mm.
The rest are brigadiers, colonels, people like that.
Mm.
Now, they're not that senior. I mean, obviously, colonel, brigadier, you're starting to get more towards senior management, but the top management are generals. And in fact, General Mkonazi, when he's giving his last testimony before the ad hoc committee in Parliament, was talking about the fact that he believed that there were far too many generals in the police force, far too many lieutenant generals. And out of all of his generals, only one of them, appeared in the dock. I had a meeting at the IEC earlier this week, and one of the guys there was telling me that he believed that the way the law works is they go after the small fry first, because the people that appear in court are all small fry. One of the ladies, I think she's a brigadier. I can't remember now her name, but she had claimed before the Madlanga Commission that the reason that Kate Natala had given her gifts was because they were involved in a romantic relationship. So she appeared in court. There was the one that was a psychologist or something that sat on the bid committee, and she was on TV, saying that they just looked at the bid. She was in the dock, and obviously Kat Matlala himself was in the dock. We've known for a long time that there is a massive amount of criminality in the South African Police Services, which is, the acronym is SAPS, South African Police Services. And obviously this has come out, and there's the independent, the Independent Police Investigation Directorate or something, which, that's like internal affairs, the internal affairs in the American police forces. So that's what IPID is, and they've made these arrests. And obviously the case is still going to, be heard in court. So we're going to see just how good a job have they done. And in addition to that, they haven't quite arrested General Masemola, and he's saying no, he's just received a summons to appear in court. But normally when you receive a summons to appear in court, you're either being summoned because you need to answer for a crime, and so maybe they're not quite willing to charge you yet, or maybe you're being summoned so that you appear in court and then get charged, or you could be summoned as a witness. I seriously doubt that General Masemola has been summoned as a witness.
Yeah.
He was responsible for the police budget. First of all, this contract, a 360 million rand contract, surely if he's overseeing this thing, he should have had some oversight to do with this matter. And even when they asked him about it in the ad hoc committee in Parliament, he didn't have any answers. He couldn't, he said he didn't know that this was going on. But that in and of itself, raises serious questions in terms of his fitness to hold office.
Yeah.
Whether there's going to be criminal charges, one would suspect that if you've been summoned to appear in court, there are going to be charges, because that would tend to indicate that you have a case to answer for. And when we spoke recently in the last week or two, we did say that the testimony that General Masemola gave before the ad hoc committee in Parliament was very unsatisfactory from our perspective.
Yeah.
We were very impressed with General Mkonazi's second appearance, in Parliament. That's what we said the last time, Gigs. So, looking at these things, I still want to see some of the big fish, being caught, because the people that have been arrested could, in my view, not have gotten away with doing what they did if they weren't very senior people, more senior than what they are, that were involved in the whole saga.
Yeah, I agree. Black Knight, what are your thoughts?
It's not far away from Pastor Kevin's thoughts too. In terms of the small fries, that's what I thought when I heard this, and obviously when I looked at the ranks, I was like, that's not the big fish or the senior, as you trying to put it in the news. But for me, it was all that. As much as we have a lot of things going on in the same week, so it's like a whole decoy that the government is always trying to do. do I really believe in this Madlanga commission? I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure yet, especially now that there's so much. And I don't know, does anyone know where is General Sibia? Is he still free? And Mkwanazi has already declared General Sibia as a criminal by the at the ad hoc committee when he was there. He said that he would declare General Sibia as a criminal already, but the guy is still outside. But here we are having 12 seniors being arrested immediately. So I don't know what to think, but for now I'm not still buying that this whole commission is going to do the proper thing. That's my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's look at what the state or the prosecution is arguing. So when we look at the
So
tender.
just to mention though, the claim from ARPID is that the arrests are not related to the evidence before the Madlanga Commission. They said they've been investigating this since late 2024. So they're claiming this is the result of their own investigative efforts.
And we believe that.
Maybe. Maybe you don't.
Yeah. So the tender was fraudulent from the start. So the contract linked to Cat Matlala and Medicare 24 was worth hundreds of millions, like we've mentioned, 360 million to be specific. And the company lied about capacity, they lied about infrastructure, and they lied about their national presence. So basically, the company allegedly, or the company wasn't, not allegedly, the company wasn't qualified, but it made itself look legit on paper. And the reason that these 12 SAPS members were arrested is that their job was to check the bid, verify facts, protect public money, but instead the state says that they approved the false information, they ignored the red flags, and possibly had inside relationships with the bidder. And we basically see that the due diligence was fake, the inspection was done on the wrong premises, false claims were still signed off as verified. They didn't just miss the fraud, they allegedly signed off on it anyways. When you look at the money flow, the SAPS had already paid over, 50 million, and a 300,000 bribe was paid to the SAPS official, the accused number 4, and money was moved around to hide it. So obviously that's speaking about money, laundering. So what did the court decide? So the court basically, with regards Cat Matlala, his bail was denied because he's already in jail for another serious case, which is the conspiracy to commit murder. And then
No, didn't he pull the trigger?
they
He was
still
the
have
guy
it.
that was trying to kill that girlfriend person of his.
Yeah, but it's still done as conspiracy to commit murder.
But he was the one shooting the gun. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought he sent people. So he was in the car that was...
Yeah,
Okay,
because
that's crazy.
that's why I got arrested, because
Yeah.
the girlfriend, she fingered him as the one that shot.
Oh.
What happened to the person that was with her? Did she get injured or die?
Yes, she got... I think she...
Paralyzed.
Paralyzed, yes. Yes, that's
Yeah.
the injury that happened, yes.
So that's what he's in prison for.
Yeah.
This is the first time he's been charged for all of this corruption.
Yeah. Yeah. And then with regards to the 12 SAPS officers, their bail was granted with the conditions of no contacting witnesses. But we've seen in our nations that the witnesses are not safe. No leaving South Africa, and they have to attend court. Obviously, because their bail was granted doesn't mean that they're innocent, but based on what Pascav and Black Knight you guys have basically said, is that they are the small fish in the pond, you know? Obviously, their bail was granted. It doesn't mean that they're innocent. It doesn't mean that they just turned and looked the other way and stuff like that. But it obviously goes deeper than what we're seeing and what people are saying. So what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Well, obviously we're going to see now. If you look at the testimony before the ad hoc committee, APA did not come out with such a glowing report, and they didn't. The lady Johnson, who's been heading up APA, didn't look very good, and there was also question marks in terms of her over the appointment of her husband. To certain positions relating to stuff that was under her control. She obviously answered in Parliament saying that she wasn't involved in the interview of her husband, but she was involved in the selection process. So that seems very odd, to be quite frank with you. So looking at this now, how good a case does IPAD have? If you look at the facts just that we've heard about, it should be an open and shut case, especially against all of those involved, those who are on the committee and all of that.
Yeah.
But even as I said, SNWX was talking that it would be very difficult to prove a case against Fani Masemola, the Commissioner of Police. I'm not 100% sure why. You get instructed, you receive an instruction to stop a contract.
Yeah.
You wait for 3 months. In that 3-month period that you waited, an additional 50 million gets paid out. For me, you've got to have a very good explanation for that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you need to face the music.
Don't you think he's going to pull the General Sibia? Is it General Sibia or the other Mkwanazi with Julius with the, no, I did this, but my team was slack? One of them, or is it Mkhunu himself, the other part of the department, how government works, and they were slack and stuff like that? I did put across.
The Minister of Police.
No, but he came up, one of them came up with one of those excuses. And I don't know if it flied with the commission, but it's like they accepted that answer.
What I understand is that the Minister of Police issued an instruction to cancel the contract. And it took General Masemola 3 months. And in that time, an additional 50 million was paid over. There were red flags that even the Minister of Police, Senzo Mkhunu, picked up. So how that 3-month period can be an acceptable time frame, I'm not sure.
So when we look at Fani Masemola, so he's obviously scheduled to appear in the Pretoria Magistrates Court on the 21st of April of this year.
Isn't that around the same time that Julius Malema gets his sentencing?
Really?
Somewhere around the 21st of April, isn't it?
I haven't been up to date with what's happening with Julius Malema.
So we could have the National Commissioner of Police being charged and Julius Malema getting sentenced to prison at the same time.
That is crazy. That is very crazy. So on the 21st of April, obviously to face the charges for violating Section 38 of the Public Finance Management Act. Now, he has maintained that he followed the advice of relevant committees and believed the process complied with the law. And this is according to Business Day. And obviously, if we look at in terms of why this is significant in the country, it is rare for a national police commissioner to be charged with financial misconduct. So again, these charges stem from the investigations and the irregular expenditure and failure to follow proper transparent procedures for public funds. So I guess we'll see how this all pans out. Not that we are very hopeful.
I think it's actually
yeah.
true. Don't you think the CFO is supposed to be charged? Not Masemola for this, because he doesn't. Yeah, he oversees everything, but he doesn't handle it's not like he's the CFO of the whole SAPS.
Okay. So
I'm just asking. From what she said, it's interesting.
The whole model of the Savannah Police Services is that all the power is concentrated in a few positions. So the question then is, at the end of the day, if all the power is concentrated in him, he's the one that has to approve it. The bid committee might give a rating, but if you're going to approve a 360 million rand contract, if there's such glaring problems in the contract and you're not aware of them, then there's question marks over whether you're fit to hold the job, first of all.
Okay.
And secondly, for me, I would feel you'd need to show some evidence that you didn't know.
Yeah.
Because this to me smacks of complicity. Just when I look at the bare facts, and I still believe that if you or I or any other ordinary citizen of the Republic of South Africa had to have charges of this magnitude against them, that we wasted 50 million of the state money, I don't think we just get a summons. I
Yeah.
think we'd get a summons via a jail cell into court.
That is very true.
Yes.
Yes, that is very true. In Psalms 119, verse 9, it says, "How can a young person stay on the path of purity? By living according to your word."
So there's the path of purity, living according to the word of God. And it says, obviously, how does a young person stay pure? When we decide to live according to the word of God, that's when we will stay pure. If you look at all of this corruption that is going on amongst the police force, people think that sin doesn't matter. They think they can sin in one area and just get away with it. Like the one lady who claimed that the reason Kat Matlala was buying her stuff and giving her monetary gifts and stuff like that was because of the fact that they were lovers. Now, Kat Matlala had a wife, so if they're lovers, biblically there's still a huge problem. You're not exonerated by saying that. Yet, under our law, it's better to say that you were having an affair with someone than to say that you're involved in bribery and corruption.
Sure.
So it's okay to break a family up, but it's not okay to be engaged in bribery and corruption. So, as a society with those sorts of morals ruling us, we are in a dangerous position. So I want to encourage you, all right? If you want to stay out of trouble, follow the word, obey the word, and let God's word dictate your life.
Yes. So let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This has been an amazing show. I'm your girl Cynthia, but you can call me Geeks. With me in studio we have
Gavin Instant.
Pastor Gavin Inslin and
The Black Knight.
The Black Knight, right here on the Political Show, where Christ politics is
Hot politics.
hot politics.
This is the Political Show.